Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career. It's the final race of the season. It's the second Phoenix Grand Prix of the season. This one, if you watched the previous two seasons, you will know the last race of the season. It comes down to the oval at Phoenix. We are currently leading somehow the Constructors' Championship by 4 points. The last race, we had a bit of a nightmare. We had almost the perfect strategy for keeping pace with the Ferraris. We were keeping pace with them. We were going for a one-stop strategy when everyone else, it seemed, was going for a two-stop. Unfortunately, a safety car came out. Everyone got a free pit stop, resulting in a lot of the order being out of position. We had the two Force Indias on the podium. We had a Haas finishing really high up. Just sort of wrecked our race, and then in trying to recover positions, we had both of our cars pushing all out. Norris and Ocon both ran wide on the same lap. They both did manage to recover to 7th and 10th. Ferrari, though, luckily messed up on Charles Leclerc, not bringing him into the pits under the safety car. Then he had to make another pit stop before the end of the race, put him well out of position, which means with that 7th and 10th in that last race, kept us in a position of being in the lead in the Constructors. But we are at the oval here in Phoenix. There is no chance of holding cars behind you. If they want to go past you, they go past you. Ferrari have the best car overall. I think no, Mercedes have actually surpassed them pretty much recently there, and as we see, our engine is dropping further and further behind the top teams. Red Bull have moved into the top spot with the engine and beating Ferrari at the moment, so it looks like Ferrari have taken a little bit of a step back here. They're still strongest with the gearbox and brakes. They're a little bit behind with the front wing, suspension, and behind us with the rear wing. So Ferrari, it looks like Red Bull and Mercedes have brought upgrades to the last Grand Prix. Whether that's going to do anything negative to their reliability, which gives Ferrari the race, is another question entirely. But we're going to get straight into the race weekend now. We're going to have all these questions and more answered during this race. Can we win the Constructors? Will Ferrari mess up? Will Mercedes have another nightmare race? Will Red Bull continue their recent pickup in form? They've recently been coming back. Still a long way behind. Haven't won a race this season. In 2017 they won one, and the season before they won 3. So Red Bull have just sort of been going backwards. 374 points, 328 to 154. Red Bull just going backwards here, and I think Christian Horner's job is under threat at the moment at Red Bull, so he might even be replaced. He's at risk at the moment. Who else is at risk? Gunther Steiner is uneasy at Haas, and Toto Wolff's job is at risk because they're currently third in the championship behind us, having a nightmare season this season. But anyway, we're going to jump into the Grand Prix weekend, jump over practice as usual, and we'll be back for Q3 in just a second. So here we go with our first lap in Q3. The Red Bulls have been looking pretty dominant so far this session, this qualifying session here in the oval at Phoenix. We do know they have that new upgraded engine going into the final race. They were 1 and 2 after Q2. Whether they're going to be able to keep that going here, which would be a great help for us if they could do that, if they can hold Vettel off pole position. But as we've seen, we're quicker than the McLaren at the moment. We'll just speed things up just so we can see where everyone is after the first round of qualifying. And as it is, we're currently 4th, 8th. Ocon goes behind the other Ferrari. It looks like the Red Bulls aren't as quick as they were in Q2, although they're still pretty close to the front row of the grid. Here is the qualifying lap, the final qualifying lap of the season for both of our cars. Hopefully we can pull something out of the bag here, but as you can see, 8 tenths down, 1.2 seconds down. We're a long way behind the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Luckily not too far behind Charles Leclerc here, which is what we need for this race. We need both of our cars finishing pretty high up. Norris is not able to go any quicker off his final lap, but Ocon here, he goes quicker, but he moves up to 5th ahead of the Ferrari as well, which is pretty lucky for us. What we need is both of our cars ahead of Ferrari, well, ahead of Charles Leclerc. If Vettel wins this race, we really need to be like 3rd and 4th, holding Leclerc to 5th. At that point, we should win the championship with that. That would give us the advantage over the Ferrari just by maybe 1 or 2 points. Can't quite work it out in my head at the moment. Just too excited going into this final race with an unexpected chance at winning the Constructors' Championship. But anyway, here is the grid for the 2020 Phoenix Grand Prix, the oval, the last race of the season. Back to normal. The Ferrari of Vettel, the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton on the front row of the grid. Not much splitting them. We need Lewis Hamilton to have an amazing race here, but it is off form. We need him to beat Sebastian Vettel if we stand a chance at winning the championship here. The Red Bulls, an amazing qualifying session for them. They have kept their pickup of form going towards the end of the season with the second row of the grid, a lockout on the second row there for the Red Bulls. Ocon is 5th in the Williams for us, Charles Leclerc just behind him in the Ferrari K-Mag. Still with the dodgy neck, Kevin Magnussen therefore finds himself in 7th in the Mercedes. Bottas is 8th in the McLaren. Norris is 9th in the Williams for us, and then we have Stoffel Van Dorn 10th with him as well. It seems like we're pretty well matched with McLaren at this point in the season, as we just slightly fallen back towards the end of the season, not introducing any more upgrades. Felix Rosenqvist and Nico Hulkenberg are 2 Renaults on the 6th row of the grid, followed by Roman Grosjean in the Haas, and as usual Max Verstappen seems to like this 14th place this season. Behind him is Carlos Sainz in the Haas, Sergio Perez in the Force India, Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, Billy Johnson on top form in the Toro Rosso gets himself off the back row of the grid, and then we got the 2 Saubers right on the back row. Alex Lynn starting on the softs in 19th, and Marcus Ericsson on the hards in 20th. Here we go, hopefully we can get a good start. This race is going to be a 3-stop strategy pretty much for every team. Ocon with an amazing start gets himself past the Red Bull of Danny Rick really early here. So what I think, we're going to get on. Norris has run wide. Norris has run wide. No. Just running wide. We've lost whatever focus, the concentration stat. He just seems to go through a Red Bull there. Hopefully he should be able to pick the places back up here. So what we're going to want to do, I feel, since we're going to go soft, hard, medium, hard, does give us a little bit of tyre wear and tyre life to play with. We're just going to get all out attacking on this soft tyre. We're going to get it out of the way as quick as possible, keep pace with the Ferrari. Hamilton doing us a service at the moment, is ahead of Sebastian Vettel, currently 5 points behind. Obviously we know we can move Norris up some places. He's got places to gain here, so it's going to be tight here. Leclerc is 6th place. We need to get Norris in front of Charles Leclerc here if we want a chance at winning the Constructors' Championships. Meanwhile, Ocon is just behind here. We're going to set a quickest lap with him. It looks like he's getting right on the back of Sebastian Vettel here. We want him to chase him down. Vettel, meanwhile, he's conserving his tyres. What we're going to do is get in to the lead. We're going to get track position, and then we are going to cool down is what we want. Norris, meanwhile, he's up into 6th. He's ahead of Charles Leclerc here. He's got the Red Bull of Danny Rick in his sights, as we've seen in the previous seasons. Whilst we're on it here at the oval. Meanwhile, Ocon is about to concede first place. As you know, he's got the Mercedes and the Ferrari right behind him. We've got, should we get in? Have we got one more lap in this tyre? I think we've got one more lap in this tyre. Meanwhile, Norris, we don't have one more lap on this tyre, so he's going to get in this time around. I don't think we've missed the pits. No, we haven't. So Norris can get in. We've got our A crew on the pit stop, so we should be nice and quick there. That was 1.7 seconds. Absolutely brilliant. We can continue just getting rid of the fuel at the moment, as that is Ocon just getting passed by Sebastian Vettel there, so we can be balanced into the pits. And Vettel, I thought it looked like Vettel was coming in there, but he didn't actually decide to come in right at the end. But Ocon, we get him in. We might be able to get the undercut working here. We can just push this hard tyre all out. Hopefully it's not going to cause us to run wide, pushing all out like we did in the last race. And luckily here, you don't really get held up by markers, but I say that and we get caught up in a car of 3. Although we should be able to pass them pretty easily if we get a good line around the outside. Norris manages to clear them. Ocon is a little bit further up the road, clearing traffic himself, just flying past cars here. Absolutely amazing. He's up into 5th. Who's at 16th? That's K-Mag all the way back out there. Vettel and Hamilton are still out here, and we're in a good position here with Ocon to maybe make the undercut, although we would then have the worst tyre wears out. Vettel is in the pits. It looks like we could just get him. We go flying in front of Vettel. Norris, meanwhile, gets Vettel as well. Norris gets in front of Vettel. We have somehow used 2 laps of the fuel up already. We're going to get into conserve mode here. Norris's job is not to beat Vettel. It is Ocon's job to beat Vettel. It is Norris's job to stay ahead of Charles Leclerc. So if we just keep going here, we've got in a push mode instead. We've got a Renault in front. The Renault slows down Vettel. We know we're not going to be able to hold off Vettel here, but we can keep pushing still with Ocon for maybe another lap here. Norris, meanwhile, where are we currently in the Constructors? We have a massive gap at the moment, but obviously that is because Charles Leclerc is possibly outside the points. He's going to be really fighting back, having just made his first pit stop. So we're not really going to get a good idea until everyone's made their final pit stop of the race, where everyone's just going to fall in here. Whereas Norris, he's just falling into his pattern at the moment. He's got Verline behind, who's made one pit stop onto a looks like a used pair of softs. So it looks like the Red Bulls are going really aggressive with their pit stop, and Verline's already done his second pit stop after just 12 laps here. And meanwhile, we're just going to get to conserving a little bit with Ocon. We want some fuel left for the end of this race to push, but as it is, we're just going to have to hold off now. Vettel, meanwhile, can get past us, but we know we've secured 2 podium places at the moment. Hamilton is obviously possibly going to be coming back at us. He's got possible fuel to push, whereas we don't have that. We've just pushed all out in trying to get track position. But as it is, Leclerc is so far back at the moment that we just have this gap of, what is it, 24 points at the moment. Somehow, some way, we could be on for this. We could be on for this. We know we can go. Since we've already used one soft compound, we are free to go hard, hard, hard if we want to. If I don't think a medium tyre is going to work into this strategy at all, we might as well just keep pushing these hard tyres, because we know if we push these hard tyres all out, we know we're in a really good position, and maybe that's going to be what we have to do. Although Leclerc is stuck in traffic somehow. He's stuck with Danny Rick, Carlos Sainz, Verstappen as well. He's got himself into a right pickle as Charles Leclerc here. He's just falling behind, 12 seconds from Norris. So Norris is there. Leclerc is 11 seconds further back than Norris. Everyone should be 3-stopping this race. There's no chance of anyone doing a 2-stop. Unless some of these, like Hulkenberg, can do it going hard, hard, hard. I don't think the AI would make that decision to do that though. But as it is, Ocon is still conserving. Vettel at the moment is about a second quicker at the moment, but Vettel getting into first place, if he can get Ocon and get past him, not too big of a deal for us, because we know we can just we're in a position, if we stay ahead of Leclerc, second and third or second and fourth is enough for us to win this championship. If Leclerc is still behind us, Leclerc though doing 43.2s, he's not much quicker at the moment, but we're going to get pushing again with Norris. He's going to get pushing and he's going to do his pit stop quite a bit earlier than Ocon. Ocon, meanwhile, we're just having him just go ahead. He's just going to run his race out front, let Vettel catch him a little bit, and then maybe get to pushing a little bit later. Hopefully then we've got a little bit of room to push as the race gets into its final, into the final stage of the race, as we are on lap 18, 40 laps to go. We've got cars pitting already for their first pit stop. Norris is lined up. Maybe he's got 5 laps left in him, so he is going to have to do the hard strategy after this. And are we lapping any quicker? A 42.0, pushing this all out at the moment. So should we get into high mode a little bit, keep him up to pace with Hamilton, keep him on this pace. Meanwhile, ahead of Charles Leclerc, he's still got that 11 seconds on him, about a second quicker. If we can pull out that gap any further, we could get out of the pits in front of him. If we can pull out this gap any further, if we can just keep pushing. But as it is, we've possibly only got 2 laps left in this tyres. We're starting to catch Hamilton as well now. A 41.8 off that last lap, although Leclerc has started to speed himself up as well. And meanwhile, Vettel is almost right on the back of Esteban Ocon here. He's going to have him in a couple of laps, but once again, we're going to get the undercut working again for the next stint on these hard tyres and possibly regain this place. Should we get the pit stop over and done with now? So can we get this pushing? Norris, meanwhile, he's got 1 lap left in him. Possibly the tyres almost, well, they are overheated. Saying almost, I think we can get the last lap done here. I think we can get this last lap done before they go to 0. Have we timed it perfectly? 5%, we're into the pits on 4%, so we're going to get back out. We're going to keep it in high mode for a little bit because we want the undercut to start working on Hamilton. We want to pass Charles Leclerc as well. maybe, if we can keep this pace up on this hard tyre in the early going here, we come back out into 9th place. We're only 9 seconds behind Charles Leclerc, but we can push for a little bit here now. If we can sort of get back towards doing what we want to do. And it looks like we've got another lap in Esteban Ocon, so we're going to get into attack and high mode here whilst we've regained that place. Over. Oh, no, we're going to have to get in this lap. 12% is a little bit too much. No, we'll stay out. We can always put it in back up. We might as well stay out this extra lap and keep going. The extra lap might work out for us in the end, you see, if we can just keep another tyre going as it is. We're going to get into the pits once again. And Norris is already back up into 7th place, closing in on Charles Leclerc. We get someone else diving into the pits there, I'm sure. Who is that? It doesn't actually say he's in the pits. Yes, it does. It's Magnussen in the pits. So Ocon should be able to get in the pits and out in front of Charles Leclerc and be a pit stop ahead of him, which is an amazing feat for Ocon. Absolutely running an amazing race here. He's out in front of... Who is that behind him? Who is that? Is that one of the... That's one of the McLarens. Have they been lapped? Have we lapped a McLaren already? Can't even see it. Bottas, 50 seconds behind. It looks like we've done it, but it is Van Dorn that's in the pits. We're coming up on lapping the McLaren of Bottas as well. Meanwhile, we're coming right up to the back of Charles Leclerc here, and we're a pit stop ahead of him. Although no, there's 30 laps left. There's no chance they can get a hard tyre from this point to the end of the race. They would need to be able to get another hard tyre, about another 10 laps to do that. Meanwhile, since we're coming up to the back of Charles Leclerc, what are we doing? A 40.1, we're about a second quicker. If we can just get past him and then we can start try to recover from that point. If we can just make this pass, we go flying past Leclerc. Let's open up maybe a second gap and then we'll turn down everything. Meanwhile, we've got second place. We're ahead of Vettel. Again, Vettel going for a medium though. We do have the option of a medium at the end of the race with Ocon, so since we've already made the jump on him, if we can just get this going at the moment, so we'll go to neutral, and it looks like we've got this second gap now over Charles Leclerc. So if we can keep this going, this championship is going to be ours. Ocon moves into first place as Hamilton pits. We will go into a period of recovery now. We've got a 7-second gap over Vettel, who's going to be coming back at us really quick. But we know we can get the undercut maybe working on him again later in the race. As it is, we're just in a period of recovering at the moment. Leclerc does have to pit, so he could be back out around here somewhere. As it is, we've got a 14-point lead. The oval working out brilliantly for us as Leclerc comes into the pits. What's he going to go for? Are they going to go medium as well with Leclerc? Leclerc comes out on mediums as well. So he's going to go medium and then maybe medium again. Whereas we're just going to try stick with this hard, maybe go hard again with Norris because we're just possibly going to get him pushing once again. Maybe get him close to Vettel. If we can get him close to Vettel, we're really close at the moment. Vettel doing 40 seconds at the moment. No, there's no chance even pushing this tyre all out. We might as well conserve, or should we conserve? Should we push and then push again and maybe get the undercut working on Vettel with Norris, as it looks like Vettel started to slow down a little bit. What is Vettel doing? Is he held up by someone? Yeah, it looks like he was held up by back markers there. He started dropping back. He was gaining pretty rapidly and then got stuck at about 5 seconds. Whereas Ocon, what have we got? 25 laps remaining. If we can get maybe... If we can go quite long on this hard tyre, or is it just worth it to just go hard? What are we losing? 40.9. Norris is quite a lot slower though at the moment. Let's just see what another lap does here. Ocon does a 40.9. Norris does a 41.4. So he's about half a second slower. So what does pushing the tyres all out do for this car? So we won't be able to see this lap since it was about half a lap. So what was it on this last lap? 41.4. So what does Norris pick up over this lap? From a 41.4 to a, let's just watch him go around again, to a 39.9. So he picks up, that's like 1.5 seconds he picks up just pushing this tyre, which makes him on a par with Vettel. So is it just worth pushing the tyre all out? Obviously we're going to keep doing that with Norris. He's going to get into the pits first and then just finish the race on another set of hard tyre. So he can just afford to push here. We don't have much room to push with the fuel. Is he going to do the same tyre, the same lap time again? 39.9 as well. He's speeded up pretty rapidly, whereas Ocon is about to come under pressure, so we'll get him pushing. His last lap was a 40.6. Can we get him speeding up here a little bit as well? So he's gone from a 40.3, he was a 40.6, 40.3. Can we get him speeding up and staying ahead of Vettel? And maybe get in some sort of undercut working as well. So we go 40, do we go 39.6, actually quicker than Vettel. So I think it's going to be best for us because Vettel can't hold a candle to us. And we've got a crash for Alex Lynn, but no safety car. So since they can't really hold a candle to us, what we're doing on this hard tyre, although there's not much room to push on the hard for Norris on his last stint of the Grand Prix, whereas there will be for Ocon since they can't really hold a candle to what we do on the hard tyre really. But if we had a medium on them, we're doing the same, although the medium cannot go and we're getting slowed down here by, who is that, 15th place? That is Sergio Perez there slowing us down, but hopefully he's going to do the same to Vettel. And hopefully we can get a decent pit stop here and no mistakes. Norris is going to come back out into 4th place ahead of Charles Leclerc. That is absolutely amazing driving, so we can just hold off because we're not really fighting Charles Leclerc at this stage. We're just sort of holding off, and Vettel is falling back here. We are almost at the point where we've recovered the fuel, so we're going to be able to push the fuel on the last stint as well. So we can just hold off and make sure we can stay in the positions that we need. Obviously, the way it is at the moment with Leclerc still to pit, if Vettel does jump Ocon at some point, we're still going to win the championship. And that is going to be absolutely amazing. So we've got one more lap in this left with Ocon, so no, we'll just keep it going as it is. We're still in the 39.7s, we're quicker, and Vettel is into the pit, so he's already made his pit stop early on that medium tyre. He's come out for another medium. So should we just try and match Vettel here, or should we go for a hard that we know we can push? We do have the boost on this one and we can push it for longer, and the performance on that medium tyre is not that much more improved over the hard tyre. We're going to risk it and go hard. We are going to risk it. We're going to get pushing and keep pushing on a hard tyre. And hopefully that is going to keep us somewhere in front of Vettel. Vettel is going to be quick on this lap though. He's on that fresh pair of mediums. If we can get out in front, he's on this fresh pair of mediums. He's pushing it all out. So we're going to go high mode as well. We're just going to keep going with Norris as it is for the moment. So Vettel will be quicker, but he's going to turn down, and then later on we're going to be quicker than him once we get to that crossover point. So Vettel's going to get it now. And then hopefully we're going to come back at Vettel later on, because Vettel's not going to be able to keep pushing on this medium tyre for too long. Whereas we can keep pushing this hard tyre for a lot longer. As we see, Vettel has already turned down here. So are we going to get back at him pretty early? Or we need that crossover point on the mediums to come. Norris, meanwhile, holding 4th place. He's currently behind Hamilton. We would win the constructors as it is. Obviously Leclerc does have places to pick up. Is there enough points on the table for Leclerc here to pick up? Leclerc currently 8th place. It's going to be a close one. We do need to move our cars up here. We need Ocon to maybe come back at Vettel, and we're going to get it. We're going to get it as we go flying through a Renault. And Vettel's recovering fuel at the moment, so we're going to turn down here. We've got a little bit of room to turn down. And we're going to get Norris chasing after Hamilton, but there's 11 seconds there. We've got Red Bulls and a Ferrari. Oh, no, the Ferrari is so far back there. We're 1 point ahead. Can Leclerc catch Ricciardo? That's a massive gap. So if we can just stay where we are, it is ours. Hopefully Ricciardo's not going to wreck his race. Hopefully he's not going to wreck stuff here, but if we can just stay in these places, we don't really have the luxury of catching Vettel. He's going to fly off, but we can catch him later on in this race if we just hold on to everything. And we're going to have a really strong last couple of laps to this race, so if we conserve maybe for a little bit, it's going to let Vettel shoot off into the distance. But once we come across the line, we're going to try push all out from this point forward. And that would be pretty much our race, and we're just going to push and push. We're not really catching Lewis though, who is on that medium. We're not catching, so we're just going to hold off with Leclerc. Just hold off here. with Leclerc. He just has to stay ahead of Ricciardo. He is our main battle. We want to keep him ahead of Ricciardo. Ocon, meanwhile, it doesn't look like we're catching Vettel. Oh, we are. We're catching up again. We're catching up to Sebastian Vettel. We're starting to reel him in as Ocon has actually lapped Charles Leclerc there. That is Leclerc running behind him. We've actually lapped Leclerc. So that is how much further ahead. Leclerc's dropped down behind Wehrlein as well. The Red Bull is ahead of the Ferrari, which drops the Ferrari even further back. What has happened to Leclerc here? Made a mistake? Did he run wide or something? Puts us now 3 points ahead of the Ferraris as we have a McLaren in the pits. So 1st and 7th for the Ferrari. Leclerc really not holding up his end of the bargain here, and we're not catching here. We just need to keep Ricciardo behind, so we're not really chasing Vettel at the moment. And we have room to push with the fuel now for the last couple of laps with Ocon. Can we chase down Sebastian Vettel for the win here? We're closing in rapidly. Look at that. We're over a second quicker. This medium tyre is almost shot. It looks like it was the right strategy to let Vettel go on that medium tyre and then reel him in for the last couple of laps. Hopefully we can make this hard tyre keep going to the end of the race. This hard tyre now should get there for Norris, but there's no real chance of catching Hamilton, but we might as well give Norris the luxury of pushing. And Ocon is flying up the road here as we move in to the final lap. We can just keep pushing here. We can keep pushing. We're going to hold off Vettel. Vettel is still falling behind. The absolute right strategy to go for that hard tyre and reel Vettel in right to the end. So we're coming across the line here. So this is going to be the Constructors' Championship with this win. Norris looks like he's about to set the quickest lap of the race, although he's running out of fuel. We've left him going too long. We don't want to let Danny Rick pull this back in, but can we still set the quickest lap of the race? The fuel's gone. Danny Rick is going to catch us, but that is not going to cost us the championship, thankfully. There we go. We finished 5th. Luckily, we didn't need that 4th place. But there we go with Ocon. 1st place, the absolute right strategy call, finishing 3 seconds ahead of Vettel there right at the end. I don't know if we still set, there's no chance we set the quickest lap of the race on that final lap, having slowed down so much after running out of fuel. Scrutineering here is done. Lewis Hamilton moved down 6 places for risky parts. Another absolute shamble of a race from the Mercedes team. Red Bull have recovered in the latter part of this season, looking good for next season. And there we go, Ocon. Vettel won the Drivers' Championship. Esteban Ocon 2nd. Lando Norris in 4th place. And there we go, a 15-point win. I can't believe it. Although it's not what I really wanted from this season because of the changes coming up next season. We're not going to be one of the top 3 teams. We're not one of the top 3 teams now. We might not even be one of the top 4 teams with what is happening next season. So I'm hoping that we don't have to chase 1st place with what way gets set by Frank Williams at the beginning of the season, because otherwise we might actually end up getting fired next season. So hopefully I can find a way around not getting fired if we're tasked with coming 1st overall. Hopefully we can ask for something like we can chase 3rd in the championship or something like that. Otherwise next season might be a little bit of a nightmare for me going forward. But anyway, there is the end of the season. We've got a new unlock, although that is, I don't know why we actually dropped with mechanic relationship, because we were at 100%, but we dropped for some reason anyway. Hopefully the chairman's happy with us enough going into, oh, that's why, because we had in the interim between the last race and this race, we had one of the mechanics leaking information. We just fined him, but then it lost a little bit of chairman happiness. It lost some mechanic happiness between Norris and Dave Robson. But anyway, that is it. What an amazing end to the season. We confirmed Constructors' Championship. Next season, there are big changes coming to this game. We're not going to be as strong as we were this season. We won't get into that in the next episode, which will be the pre-season episode. It is going to be a little bit different to the pre-season episodes that we've gone through before. There's not going to be really any gameplay footage in it, really, going over what we've done, because a lot of it is story. So a lot of the stuff, like, we usually go through what we put in the car beforehand. A lot of that is just like nil and void. Now, it doesn't really matter what we put in the car. A lot of it is just story going forward. But there we go. We are confirmed world champions. Absolutely amazing. Looking really strong going into next season if we can keep it up. We do have a decent car, but there is a new team coming, which we will go over again obviously in the next episode. There's a new team coming which might trump our own team. It is a pretty strong team. They're not going to be one of the best teams straight away, but they are going to be up there fighting with Ferrari and Mercedes, and will be there or thereabouts in the coming seasons as well. With this game, hopefully, if we do not get fired, but if we do get fired, we'll just take over one of the bottom teams. We'll hopefully be around here. Obviously, we've got some pretty big teams who are at risk at the moment, so if we do get fired, there are teams we can take over. There is Haas as well. I did quite want to get on with the American Dream series that I did before, which got cut short when we had a patch to the game and it wrecked my save game file with the mod I was using at the time. But anyway, that's where we finished this season. Williams Martini Racing Team, 17 races, 10 podiums, 6 wins over the season. A massive points haul of 465 points, beating out Ferrari, beating out Mercedes quite comfortably, who even with 7 wins had a pretty nightmarish season. A pretty nightmarish end to the season. If we just look here with Hamilton, over the last 3 races he picked up 3 points. Magnussen over the last 3 races picked up 6 points. And if we look at Magnussen as well, going back all the way to, if we go all the way back to Italy, which is I think round 10, for the last 7 races he only picked up 10 points to Kevin Magnussen. An absolute shambles of a finish to the season there. And we see where Charles Leclerc actually moved to the Ferrari team at the Belgium Grand Prix. He was pretty strong. Obviously not as strong as his teammate of Vettel, who since Leclerc joined, he didn't have any wins from the start of the season to Germany. He had a bunch of second places, 5 second places and 1 third place. But after Leclerc joined the team, it allowed him, it seemed, to open up at the front, picking up 4 wins, 2 second places and 2 third places. An absolutely amazing finish to the season from Vettel. Sees him rightly crowned the Drivers' Championship, which is, I think, his second, because he won the first one over Lewis, then Lewis won the second one, and then we swap back to Sebastian Vettel. But yeah, so let's just finish with the interview right at the end of the season. Congratulations on securing the FIA Formula 1 World Championship title. What was the secret? You can't pinpoint any one thing or person. I think we'll just go for that one. I'm not sure which one's going to affect what here. We'll go that, and that keeps the chairman happy, which is what we want going into next season. We need to keep Frank Williams as happy as we can, and we've got the contract of Esteban Ocon running down, so we're gonna have to renew Esteban Ocon, and I'm guessing he's gonna, oh, wages aren't very important to me, which is good, and he wants a long contract with us. So maybe we can get away with offering him a little bit less money here. He doesn't even want bonuses, so hopefully that is going to be accepted going into the next season. Obviously, we will find that out in the next episode when we go over everything for the pre-season. There might be a tiny little bit of gameplay in it, but I'm working on something else which will pretty much go over everything. Go over every team in F1. Every team in F2, because there's some big changes coming to Formula 2 as well. So hopefully that will be up tomorrow. I do have to work on it, but hopefully that will be up tomorrow. But until then, what an amazing end to the season. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the usual. But until next time, I'll see you down the road, and goodbye.